Hey, Maria, back with another video. It's 8:04 p.m. It is August 22nd. It is Monday. I think it's Monday. Yes, it is Monday. I'm pretty sure it's Monday. Monday evening. And so I am in my pajamas, and of course, I'm just doing a lot of thinking. This is what I do. And I know some people are like, man, can't you find something better to do? I will tell you, no, I can't. I can't. I think when you're dealing with something that it disturbs you, emotionally disturbs you, it's very hard to get your strength to do much of anything else, really. More than I work and everything, but I don't really have much of a outlet outside of work. And I do have my hobbies here in the house and stuff like that, but this is really heavy on my mind. It's like, I need to express it, in some way and get it out of me because it's when you deal with something like this, it's like how do you get that sort of healing, the kind of healing, and most people will tell you, even like so-called quote unquote professionals, right? Will tell you, that some people who've experienced trauma, they will never really get healed, and sometimes you just have to accept it, like, but you can do things to try to calm it down or try to learn to live with it. And that's realistic. I mean, you can't expect somebody who's dealt with something. Now, some people will never understand why feel traumatized by this. Okay, but just understand that each person in the world has their certain limits and certain things. Like what most people didn't think was a big deal about this issue was like absolutely mind shattering to me. Um, and I just respect that. Like, some people who maybe they were real young and they were close to both of their parents, and then their parents ended up getting divorced, and some people it shattered them and that shocked them. Some people have gone to war and they've been through the post traumatic stress disorder, or seeing people die or whatever, and they're dealing with lifelong trauma. It's these sort of things. I kind of gave you an example of reason why I felt this was traumatizing, because it's very much like somebody lighting your life on fire, or your barn on fire, or everything that you have on fire, and all you can do is just sit back, and it's a form of terrorism, really it is, especially since you add the religious aspect to it, and the somebody imposing their life on you and denying your rights, all that stuff. Okay, so I don't want to go too deeply into that, because this video is more about coping techniques and how we can try to deal um, with our feelings. Now, I am obviously in uh, somebody who is dealing with, you know, I would say that my targeting has gone down. Like, I remember at the height of my targeting, it's like I would open the door and like everybody was coming out. It was ridiculous, okay? Um, and then I do remember the fake job interviews and all this other bullshit, which I really didn't appreciate, okay? That's very traumatizing, especially when you are financially broke and somebody's basically dangling your life in front of you. It sends shockwaves into a person. It is just absolutely disturbing. Um, but um, but you cannot trust. Like I said in a few of my videos before, you can't trust people. And these are so-called professions that are uphold confidentiality, really aren't what they say they are. Okay, and if I really wanted to expose the name of this so-called operation, I feel like it. I do. I feel like talking about that, but I'm not going to. Okay, but just know, if you're TI, it's really not a good idea to get psychiatric care, because what your perps or your handlers want to do is they want to gain full control over you. Okay, so they're looking for any excuse for anything that they can say that can cause you to make you seem unfit. This is in their mind. Now, mind you, you would have to go to court to gain control over a person legally, okay? But they don't think about all this. See, their plans are not very well thought out, okay? Because you can't just yank somebody out from one location and put them into another, or gain possession, or gain what do you call it? Like legal control or conservatorship over a person, especially if they are conscious and aware of it. Now, sometimes in certain situations you can, but it's still a legality. Okay, there's a certain step that you have to take to do that. But this is the kind of stuff they'll do. And as a targeted individual, there's certain things you can't do. Now, in the height of my targeting, I did not eat out restaurants. And every once in a while, I don't eat at restaurants a lot anyway, and I've never really have, I would say in the last 7 years or so. But there were times where I didn't go to restaurants unless, of course, it was like a buffet type thing. Okay, because if you're a targeted individual and you've got people who are plotting against you, and don't think just because this was a religious issue that people were good about it or whatever. This is when you see the people's evil side. Don't think that they won't try to poison you or put something in your food. Okay? Because they get these people riled up, they get these people angry, and these people will start hating you for no apparent reason. Just because they're being told to, so they can be a part of the social group, so they can be a part of the clique, whatever. Okay? Even though they don't know you personally, but they'll do it because of the need for inclusion, right? So there's certain things you can't do. Going eating at restaurants is one thing. Um, Certain social functions, I don't think is a good idea. Okay, but what this video is really about is the healing aspect, because, like I said, you can't really go and trust the medical profession. Okay, so what do? You know what I mean? I personally think that so-called psychiatric care in a lot of these places. Even I remember back in the early 2000s where, like, it was kind of trendy, kind of back in the early 2000s, to because they were just giving out antidepressants left and right, and so people, that was like the quick fix for everybody. Everybody was starting to get on them, and they were becoming socially acceptable. Okay, they were socially acceptable because before, a long time ago, if you were taking some sort of psychiatric um, medicine or something, people talked shit about you all the time. Like you were just like the lowest scum of the earth. And what makes a person the lowest scum of the earth? Because they have a hard time and they're struggling. But for some people, they looked at that as a weakness. So people really didn't talk about mental health issues, okay, openly. And during this time, this is when people started to accept it. It was becoming trendy, and everybody was recommending them. Oh, I'm on this and I'm on that. Just like this common exchange thing, right? And I remember when I left Karen's place over at Organized Sports, um, I the bullying was really bad, so I had to leave there. Okay, and I had to collect. I was collecting disability. Okay, because it was just so much. You can't tell. I can't tell you what this has done. Okay, this is the total shit that had happened. So I was collecting disability. Okay, and in order to continue to stay on this disability, okay, and I was ashamed of collecting any sort of payment outside of work because I was the kind of person that I wanted to work, okay, but I couldn't take the bullying anymore. So I got on disability, and so they made you go through these stupid classes. Now this is how long the targeting was going on. And I went to these classes like every Wednesday, and basically we would sit in a group and talk. And really, I didn't see where any of it was helping me, but it was helping other people because just like me making these videos, sometimes it's just good to hear yourself talk. Sometimes that's the best way of getting out and hearing exactly what is wrong because it helps clarify things. You might think, oh, I didn't think about this before, or think that deeply about it before. Even though you've said it, it just provides something therapeutic for you. So I suggest for targeted individuals, definitely make videos. Definitely. That'll serve two purposes, okay? It's going to, number one, help you talk about your issue. And it's also going to clarify some details because when you're targeted, you are dealing with a huge discrediting campaign. And even though people can see for themselves that you've done nothing wrong, okay, what it is that you need to show and talk about what the whole situation was. Now I made over 1,000 some odd videos, 1,000 videos, okay, and at first I didn't know who exactly was involved in this, and then slowly but surely, as I started remembering more things, putting things together, I solved a mystery, okay? Unfortunately, I solved it a few years too late, okay? But I solved it. That brought some clarity. It did not bring me too much peace of mind, okay? But at least I knew where the targeting was coming from. I knew the originators of it. And then I started thinking a little bit more and more and more and discovered more things about it. But definitely get out there and make your videos and start talking about this issue. We're people who are targeted people. We're not alone. There's millions of targeted individuals, but a lot of people are really. It's very difficult for them to talk about it because of the covert nature of this program. It's like because they've got people that they're collaborating with. They don't want to come out and divulge themselves, okay? And this is what the emotional shock is because you'll get these people who claim to be your friend, okay? Oh, I'm your friend. And mind you, this so-called friend knows exactly the key that's going to solve your problem. They know the solution to your problem. They are even in position to stop the problem, but yet they'll sit there and grin in your face and do absolutely nothing about it. It's you just see too much fucking goddamn evil. Okay, so you can't trust people. You can't trust them. So, and it's not being paranoid. It's logical sense because you've been illegally fired multiple times for stupid shit for dumb reasons, whatever. So you can't trust the medical profession because also um, it's not just a confidentiality issue. Um, it's the fact that sometimes, even though I was just talking about the antidepressants and all that stuff like that, I remember when I did try antidepressants many, many years ago, okay, and I don't really think too highly of them, but my issue with those things or any sort of psychiatric drug is for many people, they take it to calm the symptom or they do it to maybe get some sleep. And I can understand that if you need it for sleep, okay? But for some people who know what the problem is and know that it's not the pills is not the problem. The problem is that somebody needs to get out of your life. Somebody needs to fucking stop harming you. And you can take all the pills in the world you want to. That's not going to get rid of the problem. You got to tackle the problem. You know. So I think the best thing is you should number one eat well. Okay, you don't have to eat like you know what do you call it salads every day, but you should eat food that is going to be good for your mind and good for your body and good for your bloodstream. Okay, things that are going to help boost those what do you call it serotonin? Is that how you pronounce it? Um, Levels in your brain because you're going to need that. Because as a targeted individual, I remember when I had no job and my life was very idle and I had no hope in my heart for anything. My soul level was literally shrinking because I was staying home from work every day. I had nothing to do with my time. I was, every time I go out and these fucking neighbors were like being fucking nosy, okay? Don't let them stop you from going outside. You need to go outside, go outside. Now, I haven't gone outside, I would say, in about 2 months because it's been so goddamn hot outside. But as soon as it gets cooler, yes, I'm going outside. And they get angry because that's the kind of control that they want to have over you, okay? But do things that are going to be good for you because you're going to need it for your mind stimulation. Because your mind level, nobody, I will tell you, do not let your mind get that low. And that level of depression because it could get really, really dark. So keep yourself as active as you possibly can. You know, try to surround yourself with bright colors, even though I know the world outside is not bright. You know what I mean? But at least it gives you some sort of what do you call it? Environment to where you can feel a little bit more upbeat. You know what I mean? You have to create your surroundings so that you can feel better. I will tell you the world outside is hostile, okay? And certain situations that you're going to be involved in or interactions you're going to have, you're not going to enjoy them, okay? But you have to learn how to enjoy your own company. So I seriously suggest, there's probably hobbies that you had, in your childhood, in your teenage years, and maybe your early adulthood years, maybe before you had kids or whatever. You might want to start picking those up. and devoting your time to things that you really enjoy. You know, it's better to start turning away from these ideas that, you know, people are decent, or that you stop feeling that you did something wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You are entitled to have a good life. Really, you are. So, I definitely think you should eat well. I think you should walk. I think you should get plenty of sunlight. Definitely, like, soak up the sun as much as you possibly can. Sometimes the most sun I get is just when I go out to get out of my car and going into a store or something. But I still kind of, like, you know, let the sun get on my face a little bit, and give me that healing feeling, because it's something that's going to help lift you up a little bit. You know, it's really hard for some people because, you know, when you are targeting an individual, they cut off your life source. They take you away from things that, number one, you need to survive, but things that, you know, you find joy in. If you have to find joy in work, okay, you have to. And when you have nothing to do, your livelihood's been taken away. And then they want to take away your hobbies. They want to take away your identity. That is the kind of control that a person would want over another human being, is scary. So, like I said, don't be a fool. Don't think for 1 minute that you should get yourself involved in anything that relates to the medical industry. I will tell you that right now, because these people will try to kill you. And you know, it's funny because I was talking in one of my other videos about how some people choose professions that allow them to do things indirectly. Like, I was talking about how a few years ago there was all these nurses that were, like, being found out or being caught killing people, killing patients. And see, when you're dealing with people who are not mentally stable, okay? And then people who have a strange view of religion because they never really thought about religion, never really studied it, so they're willing to be fed just about anything. This is severe indoctrination. So you wouldn't be surprised if these people would be friends, or your perpetrators would be friends with people like that in the medical industry, who would love to give you some dosage of something or inject you with something. You see, it's sad to say that, but it's true. And this is one of the reasons why we call it a silent Holocaust, because it's it's like a serious crime being held out in broad daylight, where people are noticing this. They're seeing these strange injustices, but it takes a very brave person to stand up and say, you know, this is bullshit. It's wrong. Okay? But this is what it is. Human trafficking is always going to damage that person, whether it's maybe putting a person in some sort of state of servitude to where you're constantly being dependent on them financially, which is against the law. Or it sometimes it could, and I don't know, but something in my brain, you know, says possible sex trafficking, because I don't know what my brother and sister are really into. I have no fucking idea what they're really into. I don't know. I have no knowledge, okay? But the very fact that this incestuous thing with Joel and this whole bounce back thing, this whole weird stuff that goes on in my mind, possibly, okay? Possibly. So we do. You know, and I don't mean to say this to be like a pessimistic person about how evil the world is. It's just something that I know in my heart is true. You know what I mean? Believe me, I would love to live in a world where, like, everyone, it was like sunshine and roses and, like, like, you know, smiling faces all the time, and people weren't just smiling to hide their evil intentions. They were actually smiling because they had some sort of sense of contentment. You know, I wish we did live in a world like that, but we don't. You know, like I said, you know, you got to watch your back and take care of yourself as much as you possibly can. So those are the things that I highly recommend, you know, you do. Try to stay away from negative people. You know what I mean? If you're in isolation, like I was for a very, very long time, you're not going to be around too many people. But try to stay away from, uh, you know, people who are going to be overly nosy. Do be aware that the people who are around you are there for information gathering. That's what they're there for. They're there to basically observe you and report back to the perpetrator who's doing a bunch of illegal stuff that they're helping them do. Okay. Um, so you have to be careful. You have to be very careful about those things. But mostly, take care of your health. Take care of your happiness. Find happiness. Find happiness in whatever it is you do, whether that be music, art, drawing, singing, walking, painting. Like, I'm the worst painter ever, ever. But that doesn't stop me from mixing color. Working with color is amazing because it really does a lot for my mood and it helps balance me out. And but don't be surprised, when perps see you doing certain things, they get jealous because even though you might draw stick characters, to them they're so jealous of you that they'll fucking think that that's some like Van Gogh shit, right? And they will want you to stop doing it. This is how fucking sick that shit is. Okay? It is extreme, excessive authority. Even in authority, not imaginary authority, because nobody has authority over another human being. But you know what I'm saying. So take care of yourself. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I think I said enough. I did want to kind of go into, I was on this other topic earlier in my head, but you know what? I'm going to save that for another time because I'm going to try to go to bed early tonight. I've been not obsessing, but thinking a lot about this issue, and the reason why I'm dealing with this heightened awareness right now, and I don't know exactly why. It could be the wind down, it could be the fact that I need to rest, I don't know, but I'm tired of thinking about this issue. I am tired of thinking about it, but it's something that affected me very badly because I understood the underlying message behind it, and it does make you disturbed. If you're a targeted individual and you're not disturbed by somebody trying to do this sort of stuff to you, I'm surprised that you're not. You know, you should be because it's not comfortable. It's not normal and it's not legal. So anyway, wrapping up this video for all TIs. Take care.